Hello everyone, and welcome back for a brand new episode of the Endless Spiral podcast. I'm always your host, Keith Russell. I took a little bit of a break over Christmas, but I'm delighted to be back. Batteries are all charged and we're raring to go. So joining me for this very special episode is the one and only Ray Jorden. Ray is, among other things, a TV presenter. He is, of course, a celebrity ghost hunter. So you may know Ray from the likes of ITV's The Paranormal 5 and Syfy's Haunting Australia. And of course, there's lots of others, and we'll have a chat about them as well. Ray is also a patron for the amazing charity BulliesOut. So if you may have heard my other co-host on my other podcast, Chris Sherlock, talking about BulliesOut a lot as well, and he speaks very highly of them. So we'll have a chat about that as well. So Ray, we'll bring you in. How are you? Thanks very much for coming on.
Yeah, no, I'm really good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm delighted to be back. Actually, we were actually supposed to do this podcast just before Christmas, and I was absolutely shattered, and I was just too tired, and I had to cancel everything. But my batteries are nice and recharged now, so I should be okay for today.
Yeah, I mean, everyone needs a break. Especially if you're a creative person, you're always thinking about the next thing and creating this, this bubble, this brand. So to take a break is, I've taken quite a break for the last since May last year. Since my dad passed away, so I've took a complete break of doing much, but I'm glad of it.
Yeah. So you feel better off after taking a break, do you?
Yeah, it kind of puts things into perspective, and you get a lot of clarity about what you want to do, what you don't want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it just puts the worlds to rights for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's one thing that I used to not do is I wouldn't take a break, and I would find myself, just kind of going and thinking I have to do this and I have to do that. And, at the end of the day, you just burn yourself out, and you're not used to yourself, and you're not used to anyone else either. And like, as you said about the kind of the creative side of it, I find it difficult to switch off. So my mind is always racing. Do you know what I mean? So as you said, you're always thinking of the next thing. So it can be quite therapeutic just to take a break and to take some time out for yourself.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it got to the point with me where it just got a bit too much, because I was sending emails at stupid times all across the day, and I was continually thinking. I've got a notepad and pen that I carry around with me, continually writing ideas down. And I got to a point where I thought, no, I've got to stop this. And then, of course, my dad passed away, and that put everything in the back burner. And then I thought, do you know what? I just need to take some time out. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Right, so let's maybe go back in time a little bit, and we'll start from the beginning. So obviously, as I mentioned in the intro, you're a patron for BulliesOut, and we will get to that now eventually. But obviously, you want to talk about bullying as well. And obviously, as I said in the intro, I'm quite close to Chris Sherlock now, and I've heard him speak so many times about bullying and his experiences, and Chris yourself, and so I know his experience, but what about your experience in bullying?
Gosh, yeah. I mean, I had the pleasure of talking to Chris when I interviewed him, funny enough, when I was doing a podcast for BulliesOut on Instagram Live. So mine was really probably a very similar story to many other people. At school, I knew I was different. Obviously, we know that now as I was gay. So at school, I was very different. I never saw it, I suppose, but other kids who are more worldly, they probably saw it. And then I became a big target because I was different. And that's when the major bullying started, the hitting, the spitting, the name calling, and it all has a kind of, it does get to you. And I felt at the time that I couldn't speak to my parents really about it, because they would have said at the time, just ignore it, it will go away, just carry on. There was not really that many resources I could turn to, not many charities to turn to, to say I'm being bullied. The teachers, again, at the school, unfortunately, I don't think knew how to handle bullying, because they probably weren't really trained in such a way as they are now. And it got to a point, Keith, where I was contemplating taking my own life. I knew where I was going to do it and how I was going to do it. But something inside me, there was a strength. I found this strength to say, no, do you know what? No, no. And when I left school, that's when I really started to flourish, and I started to gain my confidence and started to do, things that I was always told I could never do by people.
Yeah, yeah. I read an interview that you did, and I wrote down a little quote. It's similar to what you just said, but I'm just going to read it back because I thought it was a very powerful statement. So I'll just read it now. It's similar to what you just said, but I'll read it anyway. So it got so bad, even though I had told a few of my teachers, I thought about taking my own life, but I found a strength within myself to say no, because even though I am taking my pain away, I am leaving the pain for others, and I couldn't do that. I just read that, and even just reading it now, I've got like kind of the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up. It's very powerful that, obviously the pain you're going through and the mindset you're in, but you still had, the thought process to think of other people as well. I just thought that was incredible.
Yeah, I just, there was so many things going through my mind, and it's almost like if it was yesterday. I can handle it now as an adult, as a 50-year-old man. I can talk about it, not a problem. I mean, sometimes I still get watery eyes just talking about it, but it's not as painful as it was, obviously, when I was, 15, 16. But I just thought, well, if I do this, what am I achieving? I'm putting myself out of my misery, but I'm leaving behind people's heartache, people's pain, to have to deal with the loss of me. And that really kept playing on my mind. And that's probably another thing why I couldn't do it.
Yeah, yeah. I just thought that was, it was very powerful.
Yeah.
Just like, I'm not like going through it is one thing, but even reading it later, like about an hour ago, I was just going through it and I was like, Jesus Christ, that's just, it's very, very powerful. How long did the bullying last for?
It was only the last 4 years of my school.
4 years it
So
went on for, did it?
yeah, 4 years.
Jesus.
So I moved to a different school. Because when you reach a certain age, you then move on to a different school. So the last 4 years of my last school is really when it really got worse. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, think situations like when we had PE, we would all use the outdoor swimming pool, and I would be in the swimming pool just bobbing around like you do, and then someone would shout out, "Everyone get out, Ray's got AIDS." So everyone would literally get out the pool and leave me in the pool.
It's difficult
I
even
was
to hear.
obviously
Excuse me. Yeah,
devastated. Yeah,
yeah,
devastated.
yeah. And I mean, for your mental health as well, Pastor, like, did you know? I mean, obviously you know what's going on, but were you suffering with severe anxiety? I know because I was speaking to Chris, and he kind of knew he was suffering with severe anxiety. Did anything cross your mind, or were you too engulfed in the bullying?
I probably was suffering, a few mental health issues, anxiety, depression, with the whole bullying. But I probably can. How can I say it? If I look back now, I can see the signs. But probably at the time, I didn't recognize what anxiety was, or what really depression was. I just thought I was just a bit of a moody old thing, because of what was happening. I didn't
Yeah.
honestly know.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, look, we speak to so many people, and it's amazing. Because I felt the same. With my anxiety and depression, you feel so lonely, you feel so isolated. You think that like nobody else will understand.
Yeah,
And as you said earlier on, like as you get older, you just learn, or you kind of just you understand it a little bit better, that you're not alone, and there is there's
yeah,
help out there. But at the time when you're in that mindset, it's very hard to grasp that, isn't it?
yeah. Honestly just didn't know where to turn.
Yeah,
You know, I just
yeah,
didn't know who to talk to. Even friends I thought were really good friends at school, kind of, you know, how kids can be quite fickle, because they can be your friend one minute, and when someone starts picking on you, then they join in just to look better for other people. Like they're the bystanders of the bullying, who are just as bad in my eye as the person doing the bullying, because they don't help you.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, yeah. So that went on for 4 years, and you finished school. And
Yeah.
what happened then?
Well, I finished school, and then I was determined a week after school. I didn't want to be one of these people that left school and didn't work or wouldn't get a job. So a week after school, I got my first job. And I think then that started building the confidence. Um, I started putting myself forward for acting jobs because I've always been interested in the drama, the acting, going to Shepperton, all these kind of auditions and things. And my confidence started to grow. And if I look back, I now thank those bullies for giving me that boot up the backside in a way to have this confidence I've got today.
And to be able to take the positives out of that is just like,
Yeah.
it shows your strength,
Yeah.
in every way. I mean, I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
So did you ever go for help, like for the bullying? I mean, I don't mean for the bullying, I mean like for kind of like the mental health side of things.
No,
No.
I didn't. No, I didn't, because I didn't talk to my parents. I felt I couldn't talk to my parents because they would just tell me, like I said to you earlier,
Mm,
because I love my parents. They would just tell me, do you know what? Just go to school, ignore them. It will be okay tomorrow. You know. So I didn't really get any help at all. So I had to deal with it all myself.
yeah, yeah. And how were you able to come to terms with it? Time?
I think time is a good healer. Yeah, definitely. But I couldn't understand. One thing I couldn't get my head around at the time was why me? You
Mm,
know,
mm,
I'm no different to you. I'm no different to you. Why me? Why
yeah,
was I such a target?
yeah, yeah,
And then I thought to myself, if I'm being a target, at least that these people are leaving someone else alone.
yeah. That's one way to
No,
look at it. I
yeah.
suppose it can be just luck, maybe as well. If you're in a different school, might not have happened. I suppose it's very hard to get your head around it, isn't it?
Well, I think what I think it was a combination of all the people that I went to school with, who I was really good friends. We all moved to the same school, and then other schools from other areas all went to that year
Mm,
as well.
yeah,
So there were new kids that I didn't know who were absolutely horrible from other areas, from other backgrounds.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. So you went for auditions, and what job were you doing? So you had a job, but you were kind of going for auditions, kind of in your spare time, or as well as that, was it?
Well, yeah, it was my main job, and then I used to take some cheeky time off to go to any auditions up to Shepperton. I had got myself together a portfolio of photos, just little acting jobs, and things like
Yeah,
that. Because I thought, "Do you know what? Yeah, why can't I do this?"
yeah,
And this
yeah,
is where the confidence started to grow. I thought, there's, if I don't try, I don't know. You know,
yeah, yeah. You're very strong-minded, aren't you? Well, you seem to be anyway.
um, it's got better over the years. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So I suppose it
Yeah,
takes
yeah.
it takes practice.
Yeah, it does. It takes a lot of practice, and a lot of a lot of confidence in yourself. I think it is because as an adult, there's been a couple of times I've had the confidence kicked out of me, even when I get turned down for a TV role or a job or something like that.
Yeah,
I get kicked down. I sit down. I take stock. I think, okay, let's try something else, and I get back up again. And
yeah,
that's the
yeah,
way that's my work ethic. That's the way that I've got to deal with things now.
yeah. And did you always want to be an actor? I mean, you said you always kind of had an interest in it, but I mean, was it something that you always thought that maybe someday you would do it?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I tried for a good few years to try and break into acting.
Yeah,
Um, didn't really succeed, if I'm honest with you. Um, and I thought, now what do I do? If I can't be in front of the camera, why don't I try and be behind the camera? So I tried that angle. Um, and then I thought, do you know what? I'm really interested in special effects makeup,
yeah,
you know. So my idea was, let's try that route. And I this is so laughable. I ended up working for Clinique the makeup company and the body shop. And I thought, well, this isn't quite what I had in mind. And I thought, if I can get some basic experience, it
Yeah,
might lend me well when I'm doing prosthetics and makeup and stuff like that. Nah, it didn't. It didn't work.
it
It
didn't
didn't
work.
work.
Okay, right,
No, no, no.
right. So,
And
go on, yeah.
and I was just going to say, and there was a good few years after that, I just kind of dropped the whole idea.
Okay.
And then it wasn't until probably in the 90s I started to do little bits and pieces again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there any actors that you wanted to be like or to model yourself on, or did you just want to be yourself? I mean, like, was there anyone that you kind of saw, yeah, I want to do something like that?
Well, funny enough, there was. I thought, do you know what? I could be the new James Dean. But then I thought, oh, he didn't last very long. 3 films and he was gone, wasn't he? Do you know?
Yeah.
But I just liked his whole vibe and his whole moodiness as an actor and his
Yeah.
versatility as an actor.
Yeah.
Because obviously before the films, he did a lot of, TV parts back in the 50s.
Yeah.
I thought, do you know what? Dark blue jeans, white t-shirt, red blazer. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Just don't buy yourself a shiny Porsche.
No, thank you. No, thank you. No.
Right. So how did you get into the paranormal side of it? Did you just kind of fall into that, or was it something else?
Mine's a very similar story to like many others. I was about 5 or 6 and I was at my grandfather's house because we all used to go to my granddad's house in the summer holidays, like my cousins and my sisters, because he had a long garden and quite a long, tall house on kind of different levels. And it was, to us, it was really magical. We used to climb up the trees, nick the apples and throw the apples, to other neighbors. And it was just great. And I remember one day there was myself, my sisters, no, 2 of my sisters, or it could be 1, and then my cousin. We were all playing hide and seek, and it was my turn to count to 100. So I turned around, they all went and hid. I said 100, ready or not. So for some reason I was looking around, and then I looked up to the kitchen window because you had to go through the kitchen downstairs to the basement to get to the garden. So I looked up and I saw my grandmother looking at me very serenely, looking at me. And I thought, oh, okay. And then I looked away, looked up, and she was gone. But she had died 6 months earlier. She had literally passed away 6 months earlier. And even though I knew what death was, I knew that we went to heaven. I didn't really at that age have a good concept of what a ghost was or anything. And I just kind of like shrugged it off. And this is it. I saw her as I'm looking at you. It was that clear. But I'd say about 5, 6 seconds I was looking at her, and she was looking at me with this lovely, lovely look on her face, serene look. And then I looked around to see where my sisters was, looked back at it, like I said, and she was gone. And I only ever told my mum, and my mum was the only person who believed me when I was younger.
Okay, right. What age were you again when that happened?
About 5 or 6.
About 5 or 6. Okay, right.
Yeah. But I always think about, how can a child lie about something that they've got no idea, no concept of?
Yeah.
And it was from that point that I thought about it, I think. And I really got interested in like ghosts. And even my cousin and myself, Claire, we used to go into my granddad's basement. We were so naughty, put a mirror on the wall, light a candle and look into the mirror and talk and ask for spirits to show themselves. And now that's known as scrying. But back then we didn't know what the hell we were doing.
Yeah.
And we were just looking like for ghosts and ghoulies and monsters. And it just progressed from there. And every Saturday I would always volunteer to go shopping with my granddad. There was a bit of a stigma to going shopping with your granddad, but he would always park me at the library, and I would just look for books in secret about ghosts and paranormal stuff. And it's just gone from there.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating because
gone.
So it's kind of it went from, I suppose,
an experience.
Exactly, that's what I'm looking for. So it went from an experience to kind of not infatuation, but well, maybe it was it? An interest,
I,
yeah,
I,
exactly.
I think it was a bit of both, if I'm honest with
Mm,
you. There was infatuation about life after death.
yeah,
Once we're dead, are we dead? Do we just cease to exist? Um,
yeah,
and then, and then it kind of, it's like a timeline, I think. It led me up to 1999. And
right.
then my two best friends committed suicide 3 months apart.
Right,
And that
okay.
kind of spiraled me on another journey, into the paranormal, like investigations, because I
Right.
wanted to know more.
Yeah. I've always had an interest. The reason why I'm like, if I'm obviously this is audio, but if this goes up on YouTube, if anyone's watching it, you can see me leaning in. I'm really interested in this because I've always had an interest in the paranormal myself.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and I've look myself and my wife. We always watched, like your shows or shows like yours on the TV. But I'll tell you a little story I've never really told anyone. I know it doesn't involve a ghost or anything like that, but when I was 9 years old, I found my grandfather passed away. Like I discovered him in his bed, and I was very, very close to him, and it seemed to have just a profound effect on me. Where I didn't get it at the time, and then we went to his funeral and all that. But for probably 6 months after that, I slept with the duvet, the sheet over my head. I was
yeah,
petrified
yeah,
that I didn't know what I was going to be. I didn't know what I was petrified of or anything, but I was just, I just had, it was just, I just felt every night something was going to happen,
yeah.
and nothing ever did. But I think ever since then, I've always had an interest in what you're talking about as well.
I can really relate to that, because after my two best friends passed away 3 months apart, they were a couple, a female couple. Um, the house that I was living in was a shared house at the time, back in 1999. Um, I couldn't even go into the house on my own because it was pitch black dark. I had to wait for I would literally wait outside the house for someone to come in and go in with me who lived in the house, all because of that situation that happened. It's like, if I needed to go up to use the bathroom, all the lights would go on. If I had a shower, those old fashioned shower
Yeah,
curtains,
yeah,
um, I and there was a mirror opposite. I could not look in the mirror because I was afraid that I would see one of the girls. Um, and it just got into my head, and I would lay in bed and I would see the shadows from the trees and swear that I could see their profiles and shadows on the wall. And like you, duvet would be up. I'd be all hot and bothered under the duvet, and I'd stay like that.
yeah,
But I know that they would never have hurt me. Do
yeah,
you know what I mean? Because they are my besties and they are my best mates, and they
yeah,
still are. But I just can't see them anymore.
yeah.
Um, so I do understand that kind of fear. I really
Yeah,
do.
yeah, it's so strange. Like it went on for probably 6 months. It could have even been longer. I can't really remember at the time. But anyway, so right, so how did you end up doing the TV shows for the paranormal? Because that must be just perfect for you. Can you merge the two interests you have together?
Well, I'd always said that, I used to have a little ghost hunting team here in Salisbury, and I always said, wouldn't it be great one day if we could always get on TV like Most Haunted? Because back then there was only Most Haunted, the
Right.
TV show, which
Yeah.
we would all, go around to my friend Maria's house every Tuesday, cup of coffee, lights off, watching Most Haunted. It was
Yeah.
like a little tradition every season,
Yeah.
and I thought, I really want to start doing this, and this is how we put the team together. So Maria and myself, we co-founded a team, and we used to go out and about investigating. But back then, I'm talking quite a long time ago, it was easier to get into locations and people were more trusting, letting you into like nightclubs, houses, shops, you name it, we've done it.
Yeah.
um, and then I moved out of the area, and my original so we had some members join from another area, which was the area that I was moving to. And so we decided to split the team in half, because the Salisbury based lot stay here and they worked under a different name. Maria would like take that team, and I would take the other team. So my team, there was 5 of us, became UK5 Paranormal, and we basically started doing stuff around the west of England, like Warminster, Bath, Bristol, all around there. And then one day we had an email from a guy called Tony from a production company who's looking to do a show for ITV. And we thought, oh, this is a load of old faff. It's probably another team winding us up on, headed paper that they've made or an email that they've just, created. And we ignored it for quite a long time until one of the other members, Andy, said, you know what, I'm going to ring this person. I said, yeah, go on then, do it if you want to. And it turned out to be the real genuine thing, didn't it? So this guy was scouting different teams around the area. I know he'd contacted a lot of teams, but he was interested in us. We met him. He was really interested. A week later, we did a screen test, like a fake episode filmed in a house. And a week later, after that, we got offered the job.
Wow.
An 8-part series for ITV West, but we actually filmed 16 locations, but they chose the best 8.
Right. Okay.
So the remaining 8 would have gone for a season 2, but unfortunately ITV West all their budgets were cut and they closed down, didn't they? All the regional TV channels were rejigged. So we didn't actually get to do a season 2. So there are 8 episodes out there somewhere that have never been.
I was going to say that. Yeah. And I was just going to say something to you there. It's going to end my. It was actually about the show.
It's your age, don't worry.
I don't know what I was going to say to you now. So, oh yeah, I know what I was going to say to you now. So, have you had any other experiences apart from your grand? But I mean, in your team or in the show, did you have any other experiences that were maybe as vivid as that?
Well, if I look back, there's an awful amount of things that actually happened that we can explain, because it could be just, investigators do things at night time, like it could be the house, the heat escaping, the creaking, the noise, it could be a scream, it could be a fox in a field, or, all these different little things. But there's so many things that we can't explain. It's like a couple of towns over, there was a girl called Hayley who had another team of her own. I think it was Wiltshire Paranormal, and we used to do joint investigations together. And she'd managed to secure this shopping centre in Trowbridge. And I remember Hayley and myself we broke off from the team because we all did our little bits wherever, and we heard a whistle coming from somewhere. And to this day, we just cannot. We still talk about it. We still can't understand where that came from or who it was. And in Warminster, there was this old town hall. I had the only key to the building that night. We left a dictaphone running down in the old police cells in the bottom basement. We all went away for half an hour to an hour, came back, played the dictaphone, and there was a Scottish guy saying, "Can you see me there?" As clear as day. And I've still got that recording, actually.
Wow. Okay. I'd love to hear that. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I'll see if I can send it to you. It's that clear. Yeah.
Wow. I'm getting chills just listening to that.
Key. Yeah, I had the only key to the building.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that's actually really interesting. Yeah, that's actually giving me chills. Right, we better move on quickly. Okay, actually, do you know what I want to mention something to you before we move on? How did you end up in Australia? Because that must have been pretty good.
Well, basically, the guy who was one of the creators, Rob Demarest, and I have been friends for over 10, 12 years, and we'd always said we'd like to work together. And we were talking one day, and he said, "Look, Ray, I've created a new show. Really would like you to be in it." I said, "What is it about?" I said, "Yeah, great. I love it. It's going to be filmed in Australia." I thought, wow, what an opportunity. I said, "Yes, please." So I was cast as a second casting. I put Ian Lawman's name forward because Ian's is a friend. So Ian came on board as the other Brit 2.5 months. It took 9 months to develop the show, to get it all fixed, to get everything in place, and then we filmed for 2.5 months out there.
Yeah. Okay. And how's that?
It was good. It was. It's a lot of hard work, harder than I thought it would be, because you don't see anything in much of Australia. No touristy things. You're either sleeping, filming from 8 till 8 in the morning, traveling by car, flying somewhere. But it was a heavy schedule and I loved it, but it wasn't without its controversy, put it that way, on the scenes. Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of intimidation and bullying from another cast member, but obviously I can't go too much into that. But people who are in the know will know who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
just not a
obviously,
nice experience.
I was just going to say, so obviously with you and the bullying experience, that must have kind of, did that bring back any old memories or any old feelings from before?
It brought back some feelings and a lot of bitterness, because this should have been what should have been an amazing, experience to film in Australia, to film this TV show.
Yeah.
But to be honest, by the second episode, I was really thinking about quitting and going home, because it was that the nastiness and the bullying came out. It's only by one person, but that one person created a bad mood,
right?
Behind the scenes with their behavior, and it should have been a better experience. Let's put it that way. But I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah. Well, you seem to be the type of person you always look for, on the positives of things anyway. So, right, let's move on, because I want to talk about BulliesOut, because like I said, I've heard Chris talking about this before, and I know you do a lot of charity work and fundraising and an awful lot for them. So, how did you get involved with them?
Honestly, it was on Twitter. I followed BulliesOut because I was following various people on Twitter, and I saw them and I read and retweeted some of their posts. BulliesOut was founded by Linda James, MBE. She was bullied as a child, and she obviously decided to set this charity up as an adult. They've been going 15 odd years. So I had a look at their website, thought, you know what, this is absolutely brilliant what they're trying to do. So I contacted Linda personally. She contacted me back. We had a chat, and that's how I got on board. I think 4 or 5 years ago now. Yeah,
because you do an awful lot for them, don't you?
Well, I don't do as much as I in COVID times, in these old lockdown times. But when the first lockdown happened, BulliesOut were just weeks away from folding, because obviously overnight all their events got cancelled. Their funding got cancelled, because they're quite self-funded for the work that they do and the amount of audience that they reach. So Linda, her team, myself, and a few other people, we thought, well, what can we do? So we started doing major pushes on social media, online events. So we did an online Great British Bake Off kind of thing, and to raise awareness about their merchandise, to try and raise funds. It's just keeping the brand going and the charity going. And I used to do a little Instagram live show for them called Stand Up, Speak Out, talking to various people about how they've been bullied and how they overcame bullying, and why it's so important for them today to support charity like this. So I try and do as much as I can do.
Yeah, is that the one that Chris was on with you? Was it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I will put the link to BulliesOut in the description of the podcast, and if this goes up on YouTube, I'll pop it up there as well. What is their website? BulliesOut.co.uk, is it?
It's just no. It's BulliesOut.com.
Oh, .com. Sorry, .com. Right, okay.
.com. Yeah. Oh. I mean, they're just a fantastic organization. They've got some new members on board. I try and do retweet and post stuff on my Instagram for them. I'm always talking to their head of media, Lucy, about ideas and things, and she's just recently been on GB News talking about bullying, and loads of good things are happening with them at the moment, and they deserve it.
Yeah, brilliant, brilliant. Right, before we wrap this up, one more thing I want to ask you. Well, I have two more things I want to ask you about. Your celebrity hangout live on Instagram. How did that come about?
It was just another one of those ideas that I'd written down. I thought, well, what can I do for people in lockdown? How can I contribute? Because there were a lot of people in lockdown that were on their own, locked down with nobody to talk to. And I thought, I'm going to try and do a show on Instagram for an hour where people can watch, have fun, escape, ask questions to celebrities. And it's just like two celebs. Sorry, not two celebs. I don't see myself like that, really. It's just me talking to a celebrity friend, new and old, as if we're having coffee. We're talking about lockdown, life, career, anything. And it was just a bit of fun, and a bit of fun it was.
Yeah,
but unfortunately, I stopped it because I was getting massively trolled again, and I thought, do you know what? I can't be bothered with this.
Right,
I can't be bothered being trolled because they were horrible, really horrible.
What do you make of trolling and online bullying? Obviously it's horrific and it shouldn't happen, but how do you deal with it?
I acknowledge them. That's my way. I acknowledge them. I say hi, thanks to whoever's posted that comment in the room. Lovely to have you here. Glad you can join us. And then I block them.
Perfect.
That's so I try to acknowledge them. So what I try and do is take away their power, basically.
Yeah.
And then throw it back into the room.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah, well done. Yeah, brilliant. So what's next for you? Anything coming up?
Well, I miss coming to Ireland because I used to come to Ireland 2 or 3 times a year doing lots of ghost events with a group called Shadow Hunters. They're based in Belfast.
Okay.
Where are you based?
In Dublin.
In Dublin. Okay. I haven't done any. Oh, yeah, I have done one event in Dublin. Yeah, I have. Yeah. I'd like to do more though. I'd like to do more TV work in Dublin.
Yeah.
I filmed with Irish TV doing some ghost hunts. I'm working with a producer or a producing team in Australia to do with a new TV show. There's a couple of other things on the boil, but
we'll watch this space anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you just keep on knocking those doors, keep on trying, and if it doesn't work, you move on to something else.
Yeah, and look, with this pandemic and all this mess that's going on, it's hard to predict and to schedule anything really. So look, I think there's so many people just all over the place with things. Where can people reach you?
Well, my website is not existing anymore because it's being redone because I've decided to have a whole change of my website. But you can get me on Twitter, which is Ray Jorden. I've got a Facebook fan page called The Real Ray Jorden, or on Instagram, which is Real Ray Jorden. Yeah,
brilliant. I'll pop them in the descriptions for the podcast as well. Is there anything else that you want to add before we go? Have we missed out on anything?
Not really. I just appreciate actually speaking to you for the first time. We've been talking for a little while now, and finally actually connecting with you has been great. Thank you.
Yeah. No, look, it's been brilliant to have you on. Look, the bullying is horrific, and I'm fair play to you for overcoming things, and just like even listening to you talking, as I said to you earlier on, you're so positive about everything. I just think it's brilliant. And then obviously the paranormal and the ghost stuff is fascinating for me as well. I might get you on another time. We'll just do an episode on just that if you're around.
We will do it. And one day we'll arrange something in Dublin. I'll come over to Dublin and maybe we'll do a live podcast from a ghostly location somewhere. How's that?
Yeah. Oh, listen, if you are, I'm coming as well. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
We might even bring Chris along, scare the life out of him.
No, I'm sure we can do that.
Right, guys, we'll wrap that up. Listen, thanks very much, Ray, for coming on the podcast today. That was really enjoyable, and like I said, fair play to him. He's an inspiration, he really is. Right, we're going to head off, guys. Thanks again for listening, and we'll be back again very soon. Bye for now.